All right, it's Thursday morning, and I want to give you a gem from my childhood. When I was acting immature, maybe my mom or my dad would say, hey, act your age and not your shoe size. And that one just, it gets you, doesn't it? Because maybe you're 20 or 30 and maybe you got your shoe size is 9 or 10. I mean, that's not flattering. Say, why are you acting like a 9-year-old? Like you're an adult. Like you should be showing a level of maturity, and you're not. And so there's no denying it. I mean, you're kind of stuck. You got to face reality. And Paul's trying to say that he's saying to these Christians, look, he's saying, look, you guys are Christians. And in 1 Corinthians 3, he says, look, he wants to address them as spiritual people. But really, he goes, you're kind of acting like you're anything but Christians. Anything but led by the Spirit. He says you're actually kind of being led by your flesh, being led by your own desires. In verse 3 of 1 Corinthians chapter 3, he says, he goes, this is the sad reality that you're still of the flesh. You should be of the Spirit. Because he goes over and over again, on and on in his letters about being in the Spirit, being in Christ, being led by the Spirit, given life by the Spirit. And here they are acting like they're in the flesh, as if that's who they are. He goes, there's jealousy, there's strife among you. He says, and when you act the way, are you not of the flesh and behaving only in a human way? And then he gives some examples after that of kind of favoritism and people who follow different things. He says, look, one of you says, hey, I follow Paul, and somebody Apollos. Are you not being merely human? And what he's saying is that's not you. Act like a Spirit-led believer in Jesus Christ, a follower of Christ, not someone who follows their own heart or follows their own desires and what they want, because that always leads to jealousy, it leads to strife, it leads to people being torn apart and relationships being torn apart. When we're led by the Spirit, when we're led by Christ, and we're acting really in line with who we are, which is His, well, then that does the opposite, doesn't it? Instead of jealousy, we're happy for what happens to other people, right? And instead of strife, we're looking for unity and to bring wholeness and to bring people together instead of driving them apart. Not saying, hey, I follow this one, but saying, look, I follow Christ. And let's follow Him together. I mean, that's the move, that's the deal. And so today, let's look at that. Let's look at our behavior. Let's look at our attitudes especially. How are we acting? Right? Would someone look at us and go, yeah, that's a believer in Jesus for sure? Or would they see something else? All right, because I want them to see Jesus. I want them to see Christ and what He has done in everything that we do. All right, so let's get out there. Let's glorify God with our lives today. All right, see you tomorrow for another Follow Through.